The last 2 weeks of Digimon Ghost Game were all about the new Digivice upgrade, the red dual V Digivice that each of the 3 protagonists now possess. In episode 51, we learned some of the things the upgraded Digivice can do, and in episode 52, we learned somewhat frustratingly some of the things the upgraded Digivice cannot do. Existing plot obstacles we assumed the new Digivice would overcome, but apparently not. We'll talk about all that and more in this week's video. Welcome to the Digino. Between Sunday and Wednesday, my Lamortmon video absolutely blew up. It got picked up by a YouTube algorithm wave, I guess, and ultimately that visibility resulted in over 1,000 new subscribers. So if you found me through the Lamortmon video, hi, welcome. Super glad you're here. We're covering the newest Digimon season weekly, but this channel has also done videos on other nostalgic 2000s anime like Shaman King and Metabots, so feel free to check out my catalog of videos or some of the playlists if you want to hear me talk about other series. There's other videos about other Digimon seasons as well. With that out of the way, let's talk Digimon Ghost Game episodes 51 and 52. In episode 51, a creepy headless ghost resembling the legendary knight Dullahan starts attacking students at Hazakura Academy. Apparently the ghost is looking for its head. Kiyoshiro for some reason gets caught up in the middle of this chaos. At the start of the episode, Black Tailmon shows off and delivers a package. It contains a hologram message from Hokuto, who for the first time acknowledges Ruli and Kiyoshiro since he's heard about them from Hiro's letters. The professor gives them each new DIM card chips, specifically for Ruli and Kiyoshiro though, that were co-developed with some Digimon friends. Noteworthy here that we didn't actually see Hiro getting one of these new chips. It looked like there was only 2, one each for his friends. Not sure if the implication is that Hiro took his chip that was for him already off screen, but we only see 2 for Ruli and Kiyo. If he didn't get one, that makes what happens at the end of this episode even stranger because, as we'll see, all 3 kids benefit from this gift. Clockmon and Gatsumon help put together that it's a Dullahan Knight looking Digimon attacking the History Club throughout this episode in response to their finding and holding what they believe to be an 8th to 10th century knight's helmet. Despite not being a formal member of the History Club, Kiyo helped them with the English to Japanese translation, so he too is being haunted. That's our connection to the main cast this week. It's Dark Knightmon's helmet, a Digimon who most recently had a big role in the first half of Digimon Adventure 2020. I quite like this design and the role Dark Knightmon played in that show. In case you missed that season, Dark Knightmon was kind of Gatomon / Tailmon's Dark Digivolution in a way. At least Gatomon was trapped inside of Dark Knightmon until Kari went in and was able to find Gatomon in Dark Knightmon's heart. Here though, Dark Knightmon is just angry that humans embarrassed it basically by taking its head, which is not especially cool as a villain motivation, at least not compared to some of the other Ghost Game monsters of the week that have been more compelling or more sympathetic. We have a showdown, and then in the aftermath of round 1 of a battle, the real meat of the episode, if you can call it that, we get to see what the present Hokuto delivered is capable of. After Jinba Anguramon and Battle Gamamon both take a beating and revert to Rookie, Gamamon proclaims I can still fight, at which point all 3 kids' Digivices start glowing and turn red into the Dual V, coming soon to a toy store and online retailer near you. So what does the red Dual V mean? Well, Gamamon can now warp Digivolve or warp Shinka from Rookie to Ultimate into Keinovicemon. This episode doesn't necessarily confirm the new Dual V bracelet does away with the time limit that has plagued Keinovicemon in the past, though the next episode will clearly tell us something about that time limit, so stay tuned. I'm about a week late to the conversation here, but I commented this on Lost in Translation Mon's video and I still hold this opinion a week later. I'm fairly disappointed with how this Digivice upgrade story went down. This is probably the least interesting way the whole Dual V upgrade scenario could have happened. I'll hold off a bit longer to see if there are more new features it provides in the story, but having its debut just lead to Warp Digivolution is pretty underwhelming, especially as it wasn't even Warp Shinka to a new form like Mega or an alternative Ultimate like perhaps a hidden Ghouls form. It just let us warp to an existing Ultimate, so if anything, it's just shaving off time and fake tension we should have already been cutting out since Ultimate has been available to Gamamon for about 25 episodes at this point. I was thinking about how Ghost Game does this thing where whenever it does cool things, it seems to do them in the least cool way possible. Dracmon teased a return since episode 3 and he's finally back in episode 25. Remember how he kept talking about wanting to find humans to help him evolve? Oh, he's dead now, no evolution. Just forget about that, he died. Espimon keeps telling us that Hiro isn't the real Hiro Amanokawa. It's just a weird joke though about Espimon not understanding the Japanese language too well and thinking spitting image of Hiro's dad meant Hiro's dad and Hiro must look like clones. Okay, so that was just a weird gag. The Digivice has finally been upgraded. It happened for no particular reason. It just was gifted to them. Then Gamamon's determination activated it for all 3 kids despite only being Hiro's partner, and all it did was help them fast travel to Ultimate basically. I don't know, sometimes it feels to me like an overall story planner had planted these beats in the show, created a roadmap like at episode 13 Ghoulis will happen, at episode 25 Kano will happen, at 50 the kids will get the new Digivice upgrade, and then that story planner intro trusted the rest of the team, like was like, I can trust you guys to tell a progressing story that connects these dots for me, right? But the people writing the show scripts weekly just address each of the story planner's beats when they hit those episodes, and no sooner. Like, oh crap, it's episode 25. We were supposed to do Cane of Icemon. Let's squeeze that ultimate into this Ruli focused episode. I don't know. I feel kind of mean saying that, but I get this odd sense that somebody planned for these stories to connect and then they just didn't. So again, this episode really was a vessel to get our kids the new Digivices in time for the real world release of the new Vital Bracelet devices that are releasing in Japan on November 26th. I don't even mean that in a hyper cynical way. Listen, Digimon and Power Rangers and shows like this have always been glorified advertisements for toys and merchandise for literal decades, so I totally get it. I just wish the 22-minute advertisement we just watched was packaged in a way that had more story impact. After all, in my opinion, you can sell this stuff better when there's cool lore implications tied to the anime. Like, I always joke to this day, whenever I see a Blue Eyes White Dragon card in a used card shop, I turn to my friend and I say, there's only 3 of those on Earth and 1 is right here, because that was the lore in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. It legitimately tricked my kid brain into really wanting the Blue Eyes starter deck because the anime's writing made it feel mystical and rare. Is it predatory and manipulative? Maybe, but the point is those lore chunks actually tie into sales, in my opinion, so I don't really know why the show is not bothering with the lore. I'm gonna get the new Vital Bracelet anyways because the new features are promising and I want to cover it on this channel, but I'd love if I had a silly lore reason to get it. The Ghost Game anime didn't give us a good lore reason in this episode, and that's too bad. As for episode 52, Hiro and his friends come to a lake where it is rumored that Kappa hunt and drag humans underwater. Against Hiro's advice, Ruli goes near the lake at night, hears mysterious voices, and unlike 51 where I had seen bits and pieces of this discussed online before I got a chance to sit down and watch, I went into 52 completely blind. Kind of funny that 52 weeks in, the kids still hear local stories about monsters and ask themselves, do you guys think it could possibly be a Digimon? Like, I think it's safe to say it's a Digimon. We have a bit of a Kari and the Dark Ocean moment here with Ruli and the lake shrouded in darkness with Kappa creatures pulling Ruli in. Angormon gets wet and we see how skinny he really is under all of that wet fur, which I thought was pretty funny. I appreciated that. Guapamon saves Ruli and also has a mysterious cough. Ruli speculates the one it called the boss is abusing the other Digimon and is responsible for the humans being kidnapped. Their leader, as it turns out, is Xiaojinmon. Interestingly, Angormon does not warp Digivolve in this fight despite the fact that the new Digivice allows for that. Instead, Angormon goes to Jinba Angormon, the champion form. Gamamon swoops in for support. He does use Warp Shinka to fast travel to Cane of Icemon, the ultimate, and in what blew my mind as just a mind-boggling decision, it turns out the ultimate time limit is still a factor. It still has a role even with the new Vital Bracelet Dual V upgrade, meaning the new Digivice is truly just here to get us Warp Digivolution, no other perks as of now. We see Angormon and Ruli take advantage of the Warp Shinka next, but it is kind of pointless in that Angormon evolved to champion first, got beat up, went back to rookie, then Warp Digivolved from rookie to ultimate. It's just as many steps, actually it's one step more technically. Why not just use Warp Shinka from the start, aside from the obvious answer that is the pacing of the show and the sense of tension needing to be built up? That said, a Lamortmon appearance is still a relatively rare occurrence in this show. He hasn't appeared too often, so it's nice to see it in action this week, kicking butt and looking phenomenal. We see that temper come back with him going for Xiaojinmon's throat even after it was downed, but again, Ruli is able to stop him from taking things too far. It's always been an interesting plot beat that they have this rage berserker form for Angormon, especially being such a gentle character, but they only spend about 3 seconds on this. I wish they would do more with this berserker Angormon thing, but they don't seem interested in showing us what that would really look like. I think what I liked most about this episode was the light environmentalism angle, with the real villain of the week being the factory that recently set up shop near the lake. Its chemical output is what corrupted Xiaojinmon and what caused the Guapamon to develop that cough. Hiro does ponder about the hard reality that humans call the shots in this world and what that could possibly mean when there are creatures here that aren't humans, who don't have a say in the way the planet is operated. It was cool. As with just about everything with Ghost Game though, they could have taken this idea, this environmentalism theme, a bit farther and really expanded on it, but maybe they will do more in the future. For now, it was satisfactory, but I'm pretty disappointed in the new Dual V Digivice not helping whatsoever with that time limit thing that Cane of Icemon has been struggling with for half a year now. Pretty much since we saw that time limit come into play, we thought to ourselves, okay, that's what the new Digivice upgrade would do. In episode 51, when we learned it was primarily a tool for warp digivolving from rookie to ultimate, I was a little underwhelmed, but assumed it also did away with the limit, and here in episode 52, it's been confirmed, no, it does not override or cancel out that evolution limit, so it's just a tool to get us to evolve to a form we already had, just doing it a little faster, I guess. And even then, this week, Ruli still took Angormon to champion first, presumably as a means to add tension to the episode, but that just means the new Digivice is, at this point, completely useless. I know you don't like when I say it, but these these 2 episodes are another set of misses for me. It's hard to even call them swings and misses because the swing implies they took a big chance or a big risk that didn't pay off, but these episodes didn't really swing for the fence in any meaningful way. I don't hate Digimon Ghost Game now or anything, don't worry. I thought episode 47 was amazing. I really enjoyed 45 with Publimon, but admittedly it has been quite a few weeks since I really loved an episode of Digimon Ghost Game. As always, I want to know your thoughts on episodes 51 and 52. The topic of the last 2 weeks really is the Digivice upgrade the kids got. Are you also disappointed by its abilities or lack thereof, by how the writers chose to add these Digivices into the story? Do you think it has a secret power we don't know about besides letting the Digimon warp Digivolve from Rookie to Ultimate? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to try to get back to weekly reviews for the next handful of weeks. I was just on a trip last weekend, so I had no choice but to pre-record and schedule last Sunday's video and then do 2 this week. If you missed last Sunday's video, it's me talking about Ghost Game's first year, its first 50 episodes. I wanted a single video that discusses my thoughts because you've probably heard some of those thoughts before, but they're always buried in like the back half of, I don't know, the episode 48 review. So that's why I made this 1 year later video. Check it out if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Have a great week and I'll see you in the next video.